So let's talk about the init method. Now when I gave you my analogy for classes and objects, I said a class was a blueprint to make objects, and those objects had attributes, methods. And I'm sure the image in your mind was a lot more structured than the program which we just did, where we just haphazardly created an object and then just added any attributes we wanted. Well, in the real world, this is what it looks like. We are actually creating systematically all instance attributes of an object inside one function, which is inside every class, or inside the vast majority of classes. So it often takes multiple arguments, which are then used to set the attributes of that object. In Python, the syntax is def, like a function definition. Then you have the dunders, init, self refers to the class, and then you have attributes, as many as you need. And finally, as the name suggests, it's called whenever you sort of create an object or instantiate an object. So let's look at some examples. So you know how we had a class person? Well, here is the init method, which is now going to basically, upon creation of that object, create the name attribute. So you're going to have to create a person and give that person a name upon creation. See, if we did what we did before with these open-close brackets, that no longer works because it's asking for the name argument. So this is what you'd need to do to create a person. You would need to basically give the name attribute, and then afterwards you can check person.name is Clay. So you can include more attributes. You can include as many as you want. So this example here has name, age, and height in centimeters. So now when you create a person, you have to go sort of 3 comma separated values. The first argument is going to be the name, the second the age, and the third the height in centimeters. So now when you create a person, you're going to say person, brackets, 3 things. Cuber is going to be the name, 62 is going to be the age, height in centimeters, 180. So now when you print the person dictionary, you basically get name Cubert, age 63, height in centimeters, 180. So we've had a look at the person example. Now let's go back to the car modeling code and see what that looks like. So in this video, we're going to do the following. We're going to continue with the car example from the last programming video. So in the slides, we're doing a person, in the programs, we're doing the car. And we're going to do the following. We're going to create the initialization function, the init function for our class car. We are then going to initialize the car with attributes for make, model, year, and weight. And then we're going to play around with printing out, both in terms of .dict, dunder, style dictionary for the car's attributes, and also like different print statements. All right, let's get started. Create the init function for our class car. Well, I'm going to actually paste that comment above our class car and get started. So the init function goes here unless there are any special class attributes. So we can press that once, just to be sure, def init. And the first one is always self. So here we add the 4 attributes: make, model, year, and weight. Make, model, year, weight. And so these are going to be assigned in the function by basically saying self dot make equals to make. Now, you could have named this one and this one differently from that one, but there is no reason to do that. In fact, we're only going to run into a valid reason to do that when we cover private and protected attributes later. So we're going to basically just repeat that for all the others. Self.model equals to model. Self.year equals to year. Self.weight equals to weight. So maybe just space it out. Control-Alt-Del. So let's have a look at how we can instantiate some car objects. At this point, I actually feel like I can put my car is. So we can say, we can have 2 objects. One can be my car and the other one can be dream car. So my car is a Mazda 6. So it's going to be a car object. So first we put the make, which is as the model 6. I'm putting that as a string. Year 2010 and weight. I actually googled this at some point. It's about 1.5 tons. 15 let's say. Control Alt L. So here we are. We got one car object. And maybe we can play around with another one. Say green car. I'd like to have a DeLorean. And that's going to be car. So model DeLorean. The year is about the year I was born, but one earlier. So I think the model is DMC. That's what's written on the front anyway. The year is 1983. And the weight is, I have no idea. Let's say it's slightly messed up. It would be. It's meant to be a sports car. So here you can see that we have succeeded. We can just print my underscore car dots. And let's see what happens. Run this. Make Mazda Model 6 year. Great. We can do the same for the green car. And then maybe we can do one print statement. Print my green car is. So we can say green car dot make plus green car dot model. Now these are both strings. I guess a comma would have probably worked better because then there'll be a space between the learning and DMC. So let's check this out. Yeah, my dream car is the learning and DMC. So there you have an example. We have initialized the init function with these 4 variables. We created 2 car objects with those variables. We've printed out their dictionaries and done an overview of those. And we finally did a little custom print statement using the attributes of these individual car objects. So this is going to be a real-world scenario, which is going to lead to a programming problem, which can then be solved with, well, you guessed it, object-oriented programming. So I'm going to read this, and then I'll elaborate. Suppose you're a backend developer for a tech news platform. You've been asked to design a templating system for their news articles. To do this, you will need to run some proof of concepts. So, what we're going to do is we're going to define a mobile phone class in this file. The code is also going to be available as soon as, the next video when the tutorial begins. So the following code runs without error. Now let's have a look at that following code. There are going to be 2 instances of the mobile phone class. Clearly, you've got 1, 2, 3 attributes. Now, in these curly braces, you find out what those attributes are. Display size, RAM, and operating system. So all you need to do is create a mobile phone class with an init function that instantiates the first parameter as display size, second one as RAM, and third one as OS. If you've done it right, this print statement, which doesn't quite, look all that palatable, is going to look like this. The new Peer phone has a 5.5-inch display, 3 GB of RAM, and runs the latest version of iOS 11.2. Its biggest competitor is the Simpson phone, which supports a similar AMOLED 5.4-inch display, 4 GB of RAM, and runs Cyborg 8.1. So, best of luck, and you're about to see me solve it. But by all means, if you think you're up to it, pause the video right here and have a go. So in this video, we're going to be solving the phone review scenario. So just to reiterate, this is what we have, the code that's given to us. So in this code, we have a phone object, actually 2 phone objects, one called Peer phone, one called Simpson, created right here. And this print statement sort of does an automatic comparison between the 2 of them. Now, the highlighted variables are the attributes of each phone object. So we know we're going to have display size, RAM, OS. And we actually need to use these 3 names exactly as they are. So I'll be doing some copying and pasting, but first things first, class. Again, we can just copy that because we know the class needs to be called mobile phone. Now it's nicely highlighted. Next, we need to create the init statement. So that goes right here, def init space. And we're going to have self. So first is that, which is the display size. So I'm going to basically copy that there. Second comes the RAM. So it's spelled like that, RAM, R-A-M. And last is the OS. And again, they've gone lowercase, so we have to as well. So now all we need to do is basically assign those as attributes. So self.display size equals to display size. Self.RAM equals to RAM. And finally self.OS equals to OS. So that's going to basically make sure that the first attribute assigned is display size, and that's going to be set to that, RAM set to that, OS set to that. Well, let's try this out and see if we have solved. Can you your phone? Both similar size. Beautiful. So there you go. That was the goal of your exercise. I actually hope that you got there on your own and you just looked at mine for a reference. See you in the next one.